folks, we are on to the final product. So what do you think? Doesn't it look amazing? Today we're making a chocolate vegan cake with chocolate buttercream icing in celebration of Valentine's Day. Let's get started. We have our scale here, and so I've weighed my glass here that I'm going to be starting off with the almond milk. Now we're going to pour in our almond milk. So for this we need 1.5 cups. And to create a vegan buttermilk, we're going to be using apple cider vinegar. We'll use 2 teaspoons of this. Just give it a light stir, just mixing it up. Moving on to our coconut oil. So this is 160 milliliters. And now we're moving into a strong brew coffee. So choose your favorite coffee that you will love, and this is actually going to bring out the flavor of the chocolate. So that's a key ingredient. So strongly brewed coffee. So for this one, we need 120 milliliters. All right, now we're adding natural vanilla. So you want to aim for the non-imitation version, so no artificial flavors here. All right, and we're going to be using 2 teaspoons of this. Now we're going to move on to our unsweetened applesauce. And this is going to be the substitute for oil, and it's also going to give some moisture to the cake. So here we go with our applesauce. So in milliliters, this would be 307. Coconut oil going in first. Next, our coffee. Just to help dissolve that oil a little bit more. Remember, we had clumps in the beginning, so this will just help it to dissolve a little bit more. Our vanilla extract. Onto our applesauce. And our almond milk. So it's separated a little bit like you would with buttermilk. Just whisking it, combining all the delicious ingredients. We're moving on to the dry ingredients. So we're using here whole wheat pastry flour, and we'll use 320 grams. And this is my favorite to use because it's light and fluffy. You can see here Ziggy in the background. He's dying for attention, so just bear with him. So we're using here pure cane sugar. So this will be 266 grams. And we're moving on to the cacao powder. I'm using an extra rich, and it's just something that I found online. So this will be 2 teaspoons of baking soda. One teaspoon of baking powder. And then we'll end with a little bit of sea salt. This is 1/4 teaspoon. Now I'm just going to whisk to get out some of the lumps before we add it to our wet ingredients. In vegan baking, you don't want to over-mix your final batter. Now we're adding our dry ingredients to the wet. So you can do this in increments. And you want to just mix in between. And this is the consistency that we're aiming for. It's creamy, very chocolatey. All right, so now we are on to our final step of actually baking. So we are going to try to divide up our batter as evenly as possible in both of these tins that we have here. So now we are ready to bake. So we're going to aim for about 30 minutes in the oven at 350, but it really depends on your oven. So we're moving on to actually making the chocolate icing. So we're starting off with confectioner's sugar. Now we're moving on to the unsweetened cacao, and we need about 63 grams of this. So now we're going to sift it so we can see how fine we can get it. So here we go. So moving on to the vegan butter, we're going to need about 224 grams. Now 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. Our butter, our vegan butter is just gonna go in here, just adding it in with the vanilla. We're just gonna get it nice and fluffy. We're just blending the vanilla with the butter, just to whip it a little bit before we add the ingredients. You want to leave your sticks of butter out so they can get to room temperature. So that helps with the whipping process. So adding the combination of the confectioner's sugar and the powder here. To add some consistency to our frosting, we'll be adding about 60 milliliters, about a quarter cup of almond milk as we go through. So just add. So now we just want to test to see if it's done. And I don't see any softness, no wetness. Looks like it's finished. Our last ingredient is going to be semi-sweet chocolates. So you want about 40 grams of these. So this is our melted semi-sweet chocolate that we're going to be adding in to our frosting for additional creaminess. So look at that creamy consistency. Look at the texture. So next we're going to frost our cake. That's the texture that you're aiming for your icing. It'll be spreadable and easy. So now we're just going to be taking out our cake out of the pan. So I'm just easing up the sides, just lifting it gently. Just making sure that it can come off, just easing it out. Flip it on my hand. And you can see that it's nice and moist. All right, so we're just going to start with putting in the first layer. So we're just going to smooth out in the middle. And you just keep on reapplying when needed. But this will be our middle layer of our cake. See how nice and smooth this is? I'm just going to flip it over my hand. Again, nice and easy. Balancing. We're just gonna set that right on top. And then work our way around the cake. So we'll do the top and then we'll do the sides. So the goal is I want to make some roses. At least I'm going to attempt to make some roses. And so I'm going to add the icing to the bag. Strawberries go amazingly well with chocolate. So we will be adding some as our decoration. So as we go through. All right, so we're going to finish off with our final decorations. Folks, we're just going to do some dabs on the top. Folks, we are on to the final product. So what do you think? Doesn't it look amazing? So we are going to do our cutting right now. Look at how easily it cuts. This is a testament to the moisture of the cake. This looks delicious. Makes you want a slice, doesn't it? You've got to try this recipe. Don't forget to like and subscribe.